one quick thing. Probably fix the sound. There we go. Hello. Hope everyone's having a good evening. Tonight we're just going to try to relax and have a little bit of fun and work on just do a sketch cover. I'm going to pick one out here. I hadn't even picked out which one I wanted to do. There's a scuff mark. I want to see if this will come off. Nope. We'll have to try to incorporate that in, but I'm not sure which one to do. We got Justice League. I don't think I'm going to do Undersea Hero tonight. We got Aquaman. We've got Ninja Turtles, Storm, Infinity, Spider-Woman, Spawn, Deathlock, Dreadstar, and Thunderbolts. Not a big Spawn guy. I'm leaning towards either Storm or Infinity. So I guess I got it narrowed down to those two. Get those out the way. Whole thing of mixed media board just found it in my bag. Totally forgot about it. It's like finding a $20 bill, I guess. Let's do Storm, because we can do like a team up. That would be fun. Do some X-Men. Why not? Let's try to do like a little idea here. And we'll just wing it. I always liked Storm. She was one of my favorite characters on the X-Men. This was a cool little series. Raul Ibanez did the artwork. I like biting off more than we can chew, but I just want to have some fun. See how it comes out. Hey, Jonathan, good to see you tonight. Yeah, just taking a night off from sequential. It's been cranking hard on those things and really just wearing stuff out. I hope you're doing all right. Things are good in your neck of the woods. I don't know if I want to do something this big. This is a pretty ambitious sketch. This might be too much for tonight. I like the idea of the characters running, but like I'm not like Craig. I can't pull that off with my eyes closed. I think I just want to do a posed piece. Yeah. Got blurry. I'm gonna be nice to myself today and just do basically a couple of busts. I still have like a big stack of sketch covers I have to finish, including your Spidey piece. I'll just bring it with me the next time we hang out, and we'll just work on it while we're relaxing or having a beverage. I want to be able to add some ink wash, so I can't do the like in front of the lettering shots. So that's like one thing that you have to plan for when you're starting out. I've got these ink wash brushes that I'll use, and once we get some lines down, I can show how those are going to come into play. But in order for them to work, you can't have really any overlap. So it's fine for it to be behind the words, but you can't really have it. Yeah, it's been a stressful little stretch just because been working so hard on everything, and I got to kind of one of those periods where it was like, it was hard to work, and it was felt bad not to work. I'm still in that right now, and I'm just trying to find a way to get through that. I did see the Wolverine and Deadpool flick this past weekend. I saw it Sunday morning. Usually that's when I can make time to do something like that, if I can at all. And I would say that the theater was surprisingly full for Sunday morning, man. I when I catch a genre movie at that time during the week, it's usually me and like three other weird dudes. Um, but yeah, I would say the theater was more than half full on a Sunday morning. So, oh, I understand, man. I know you've got stuff to deal with, but I will make the time when you're available. So, I did see that Rubber Chicken had a big thing for like sketch covers, and I'm trying not to buy a bunch of sketch covers because like not doing much in the way of shows this year. I'm doing Baltimore, and that'll probably be it for the year for me this year, unless somebody's like, "Hey, here's a table or whatever locally." Oh, hey, it's Eli still. I just saw your commercial job that you posted, the sequential art. That looked great. Looked great. Tonight I'm just taking it easy. I just wanted to do a sketch cover for fun. Um, I've been working my butt off on Undersea Hero and been trying to get things set up for Baltimore. So like I've just been stressed out between that and like the regular life stuff, job stuff. So I just wanted to take it easy tonight. We probably won't stream super late. It'll probably be, you know, close to what we did last week, which seemed to work out pretty well. I wasn't too tired after the fact, and nobody seemed to complain. But yeah, that commercial job you posted looked real nice. Advertising piece, slick colors, real slick. But yeah, for some reason the lighting doesn't look as bright as it usually does. I don't know what the deal is. Sorry if the lighting is a little off. Yeah, it'll be Marvel's Storm, and then I'll probably put Logan right here. I always like their team up stories, whether it was the Days of Future Tense storyline or the Age of Apocalypse stuff. We'll see what we can come up with. I've just been struggling a little bit with my stress lately. So I didn't want it to be anything that anybody was waiting for or counting down till teaching yourself to paint. I assume you mean like digital coloring painting, digital painting. It didn't look like watercolor to me. I bet you'd be able to do watercolor. You seem like the Hey Jeff, I did. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought it was a fun summer movie. Like I just said, I saw it on Sunday, and I saw it in the morning, and the theater was very busy for a Sunday morning. You know, I don't with all my chores and my comic work I got to do all weekends. I if I see a movie, it's usually a Sunday morning, and even a newer movie, I can get in and out, and there's nobody there. But I would say it was pretty busy, so that bodes well for the financial tidings for that feature film. I would say. you know. And then I saw that it was breaking all the records and everything, so that all made sense. Because if Sunday morning, the second weekend, the movie's still busy, and it was, that's got to be pretty good. Gotta get the shoulder right, and then where the arm hooks in. Those nice high cheekbones. Oh, good. Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, you liked it? Cool. Eli says his day job is overlapping with his tick animation, which involves painted props for that 70s look. Yeah, we're just having fun tonight. It was funny. Yeah, it was entertaining, and I liked. I don't enjoy the fact that like so many people posted spoilers, even though I avoided them like the plague. Um, I don't know. I thought they too many people spoiled too many things, and I don't know. I just thought it was in very poor taste. And I know they'll say stay off the computer or this or that. People got lives, man. Sometimes you can't see it opening weekend. I mean, Storm's a character that I think of different definitive versions. If I'm thinking about artists, I always think of Barry Windsor Smith, like the life death stuff. I always think of John Byrne, Dave Cockrum as the originator of the design. You know, I just think they're in poor taste, like the spoilers. People got lives to live, and I don't know. I just don't think that there's anything uh, cool or useful about like spoiling a movie that people want to go see. This is our primary light source here, and then there's going to be like a small one here with like a little bit of lightning coming out. So it's going to be an interesting lighting situation, and I'm going to leave a lot of that up to the wash portion of this, the ink wash, hopefully we'll get to on the stream, because I really enjoy doing that. Doing ink wash is a lot of fun. It's relaxing to me. It's like if you were to take all the hard things about watercolor and then simplified it. It's actually how I think I would train someone how to do watercolors at this point in my life. If I ever took on a student of some kind, I would have them do ink wash and then do watercolor. Because if you can do ink wash, you can do watercolor. It just requires factoring in color theory to the same application. But at this point in my life, I don't think I had considered going back into like I did teach art classes for a little while. Actually, at a Michaels when I got out of school, um, and that was before I really like had been a successful, if you would call it that, had any success commercially. That's a better way to phrase it. I had people text me some spoilers, although one of the spoilers I was texted was actually fake, because it never showed up in the movie. I don't know if they cut it or if it just was a a phony baloney thing. Other people who drew Storm well, like I said, I always think of Barry Windsor Smith and John Byrne when I think of the character, and Dave Cockrum, Paul Smith. Obviously those creators, Art Adams, um, Brent Anderson. I thought drew that era of X-Men phenomenally. But right now, just working on drawing hip bones. Hip bone like that. I've actually gone back in and been drawing more of the skeletal structure when I'm working on the layouts these days, and that has really helped me. Like I'll draw where the cheekbones connect, at the bridge of the nose and stuff like that, and it just has helped me to draw better, to factor in the substructure more, and then put more meat on top of it. It looks better. It acts better. Hey, good evening, Gene. How are you this evening? Over on YouTube. We're still not broadcasting on that other platform because the owner is requiring buying a blue check mark in order to broadcast on it. And I'm able to broadcast on TikTok and Instagram, but they have like different requirements for the setup that I haven't been able to take the time to do yet. Hey, it's Joe St. Pierre. I shared, if anybody on the stream doesn't know, Joe's got a new book coming out. I'll be sharing more of his stuff on my various social media feeds, New Zodiacs, and I owe him an email. Thanks, man. Yeah, just having fun tonight, taking a night off from drawing sequential pages. I've been doing them straight out, like every day. And even when I needed a break, I was working on other sequential pages so that next year I have the most pages. I'm shooting for next year to have the most sequential pages out in a single year from me. So that's my goal. And it's not an outlandish goal, especially with Undersea Hero and um, some other stuff I've noodled away at over the last year. The latest on UH, I'm on page, what am I on page? 35, 36? We're working on getting the line artwork done. It is, as I have mentioned on here before, it's going to be a little late, but we're plowing right along. Last week we were working on the page that I'm finishing inking right now. I should have that done Friday at the latest Saturday, but I'll post it up when it's done. So getting that done is paramount. I've turned down shows. I've been spending all my weekends working on pages. So that's what I've been doing. 35 of 52. I think that's what it'll be. Something like that. Yeah. But we're getting there. We are making progress, and I've got some help on the flats. So my buddy Jesse's helping me with the flats, and Jeff is going to help a little bit too. So I've got people helping me to move that along. Once we get through the line art, the coloring, lettering I can do fast. It's all hand lettering, but I do it digitally. So like I type it in and then I make a separate layer and I use that for my spacing of my lettering. Pull that down, shoulder over here. But yeah, I have hopes, but I don't want to set myself up for missing another date. So once I have a true ship date, I will let everybody know once those things fall into place. But thankfully, like I said, I got help, and we did do the Undersea Hero Tick crossover piece for the Baltimore Comic-Con annual yearbook this year. I'll be down in Baltimore in September, so that's my one big show for the rest of the year. And then it's just finishing the two books. Well, it's like a triple book, basically, the Undersea Hero. So to bring this down. But hey, new Zodiacs is big news. Big to-doings on the comic marketplace, I would say. Oh, thank you, Eli. Yeah, I worked real hard on that, and I actually had to make an announcement that I was going to be. It was one of the factors leading into my delay on my schedule. Was like this piece was worth it for me because it got to team up the Tick, a character I worked on for 9 years. Um, with my own character, and it was very meaningful to me. I will not be at Wicked. No, I just I did it last year, and the year before was I did really well. Last year I didn't do well, so I'm just taking a year off. And I hope you have a great show, and a whole bunch of my friends will be there, and I hope everyone you know has a wonderful weekend. And hopefully I'll be back. I can pay for a table next year. So yeah, the opportunity to have a published piece of the I have it right here. If you didn't see it, I got the inks right here. Yeah, the idea that for the Baltimore yearbook to have a published piece like this was not something I ever thought would happen. So, you know, getting to do that was great. And Ben's going to be there in Baltimore, Ben Edlund. So, hopefully it'll be a very successful show for Tick folk. Absolutely, absolutely. Huh. Yeah. Here's the. I can't really show the whole thing. We got Cape Cod. We got the Tick and Arthur. We got Undersea Hero here. Liquid Lad. What ended up being a big purple shark that the Tick is riding, and then we've got Lord Crackus riding on a ray. I thought that would be cool. So I wanted to get some sea creatures in there, and just have it be fun. Let's see the close up. It's not like a Joe St. Pierre Cousteau shark rendering where you know exactly the type of shark. This is just like your Hanna-Barbera cartoon type shark. Um, Thanks, man. It took a little bit of um, it took a little doings to get through that piece. I've been working so much on these sequential pieces. I hadn't done any pinups or covers or anything like that. So, oh, thanks. I take real animals, sea creatures that I know from my time, working at the aquarium or just being fascinated by the ocean, and I do. That's exactly right. I start from a place in reality and I abstract them intentionally. So like, but yeah, people love the cover. I do have 5 gill slits. Yes, it could have been a 6 gill shark, a deep sea shark, but I didn't think anyone would notice. So thank you. I think that's a forced pose right there because it's not. Let's see what we can do. Just like here. Oh, come on. I did just have to order a bunch of stuff from Jet Pens. I got a whole bunch of new art supplies. I was running out of pencil leads, so that was a must buy with everything going on that I'm working on. To run out of supplies when you're in the middle of a push is like the worst thing. So There we go. I think that's better. Like I said, this is not a. I am not looking to outthink any compositions with this piece. I just wanted to have some fun. I don't have any ideas for like a big action pose. Like I started that with something more along those lines, but I just knew that I wasn't ever going to make it through. So I threw that aside and just said, you know what, let's just do a nice, simple posed piece. It's got a little bit more character in the faces. I always thought Storm had like the nice, she was stoic, she was, cerebral, in charge of things. And I always thought that, somebody like Logan could look like they're barely hanging on. You could exaggerate the facial features a little bit more. Well, you got a bunch of shows coming up, Joe. I assume you're doing Wicked Comic Con. Are you doing Terrificon? Feel free to toss a link to the Anything New Zodiacs if you want to put your astronautinc.com in the comments or anything, if I can help. There was one gentleman who hadn't ever seen your work in the comments of my page, and I told him to go check out Bold Blood and Megahertz. So hopefully you'll get a web order or something. If you need a booth helper for a day in Terrificon, I might be able to swing that for you. I can run the credit card machine for you. I can tell people to, after they give you a bunch of money, to what issues of Aquaman and The Outsiders and all the various Joe St. Pierre projects over the years. Secret Weapons. My fee for the running the credit card machine would just be to I get to chase a couple of folks down to sign just meet a couple of people and sign a couple of books. And I'll just say it because you put it in the comments. I'm happy to do any team up you want for the sketch piece that you'd like. I think I bugged you before, but I forgot to download that art you sent me. I do need to get that from you before we go to press on this thing on Undersea Hero. I didn't download it before the link expired, but yeah, you can count me in for the Joe team up. However the person wants it done. Me penciling, you inking, you penciling, me inking. I'm happy to do whatever you'd like to do. It'd be one of the rare chances for somebody to get a sketch from me at all this year, just because I'm not doing very many shows. I think Baltimore's the only one where I'll be doing like commissions. I did sketches for charity at that little show in Fall River, but I didn't do any commissions. So yes, the cover without the caption. Yeah, I want to put it in the back, so people can see just the clean artwork in the back of the book. I think that's what I was doing. I don't remember. I'll have to look at my notes, but I'm pretty sure I think I was putting all of the, the little mini covers in the back, like all the companies do, so you can see everybody's covers. So if somebody got the John Lucas cover, they could still see the Joe St. Pierre cover artwork. Or Yeah, Eli, if you have not met Joe, because I haven't dragged you to a convention really yet, Joe is one of the super nice guys in the area, mega talented, does awesome stuff, has worked for every publisher, self-publishes his own stuff. You shared it, Joe. That picture, that you shared of the Deathmate tour was awesome. I loved seeing that. Cover gallery, yes. See, that's the correct way to call it. Not like page with pictures on it. Far more articulate. Yeah, and you do sketches to order on Whatnot, don't you? You do like you'll take a request and draw it right there. People can see their commissioned sketch come to life. I still need to get a color Joe piece. I don't have a color Joe piece. I just have I have beautiful black and white pieces. I gotta get one of those marker pieces you've been doing. Those look killer. No, wait, I do. I have a small one. I have that little thing head sketch. I do. I was wrong. No, that's over. I haven't hung that one up yet. Yeah, the Deathmate bus tour. That was awesome. That picture was great. It's been so long since I've drawn. I have not drawn any like Marvel DC superheroes in ages, so it's just a fun little treat. If I finish it, I'm sure I'll have it for, at my booth at Baltimore or whatever, if anybody is interested in it. I have not turned my website back on, and there's a good it will not be turned back on until after Undersea Hero. The store, I mean, the website's still there, but the store um, will not be turned back on until after the Undersea Hero stuff ships. I just don't have the bandwidth to fulfill orders and all that stuff. I've had people message me on Instagram and on through the contact on my website, and I can't take any commissions until all that stuff's done. Want to get everybody taken care of that helped launch my book, and then we can look at doing other things. Hey Dennis, how you doing? Oh Eli, anytime. Yeah, if you want to share that awesome piece you posted, or if you want to put your brick stuff on the thread, you're always welcome to. My friends are always welcome to promote their stuff, you know, because I know you're not a bot. Oh, cool. You got the jet array edit together, like would you call it like the rough cut? I prefer to draw Wolverine without the cowl most of the time. I don't know why. I just like seeing the humanity. I don't know. I like the cowl, love the suit, but I think we got to bring the hairline down a bit. It's nice seeing my pals all in the comments tonight. Like I said, it's been a bit stressful lately, so thanks everybody for coming out and just saying hello. Yeah, I was talking earlier about different artists that I associate with Storm. Like the Barry Windsor Smiths, the John Burns, the Dave Cockrams of the world. Didn't really think about who my Wolverine artists were. And there's been so many. Joe got to do some Wolverine for Marvel at the with the Venom team up, Tooth and Claw series. I'd love to see what Joe would draw Wolverine now, like because I just love the inking now so much. You had other people inking you before. Yeah, it'll be Wolverine. My I always like the stories of Logan and Storm. I always thought they had a cool dynamic. Going back to the early Claremont Byrne stuff. So no worries. Paul Smith. Paul Smith did some cool stuff. Oh, okay, cool. He's got some new prints. Wolverine, Deadpool prints coming up. I have to remember to curl this glove so that it comes around. And then this is our light source, so obviously there's going to be a lot of black on the underside, and we're going to have the eyes are going to be set back with shadow. There's going to be a little bit right there. Actually, his head's probably going to have a cast shadow. Something like that, or it's just going to be black behind. Of course, I drew him with like no neck. Ah, yes, Eli is sharing about there's a big Tick 30th birthday bash going on. I'll highlight this so that people can see it. That'll be out on September 10th out in LA. So Left Coasters have a big Tick event. If they would like to go to it. I mentioned Brent Anderson as an underrated one. I felt just because I don't think he gets mentioned very often. God Loves Man Kills is like to me one of the penultimate X-Men books that I think gets left off of a lot of tables. God Loves Man Kills. That's the if you have not read it, Joe, and I see it at a show that we're both at, I find it in so many of those like trade bins cheap because they've reprinted it a bunch of times. I will buy it for you. I will. It is such a great read. I've bought it and given it away so many times over the years to people who are like, "Where do I start with the X-Men?" Because it's this self-contained story and it gives such great context to all the characters, like everyone from Nightcrawler to Storm, Cyclops, like everybody has their moment in that story. And then it illustrates with Magneto and X-Men their dichotomy so well, and then with Stryker being the, like, ultimate, you know, uh, human bad guy, where he's, like, afraid of mutants. He's a religious zealot slash political figure that rallies humans against mutants. It's a heck of a story. I actually I don't have it signed by anybody. I just have like a beat up old copy. I should have gotten it signed by Claremont, when I met him, but I'm trying to remember what I had him sign. Maybe the Avengers annual that Michael Golden illustrated. Probably that, because that's like just such a great comic. Oh, Gene got to meet Townie. Cool. It's funny. Townsend Coleman actually lived in the same area growing up where my mother did. So it's funny. Anytime I see him at a show, we don't ever really talk about the Tick or some of the, with one exception, I would say. We did a panel at one point um, and talked about. Uh, no, it wasn't a panel. It was just at San Diego. We were there. That was the year that they had the big Amazon thing. He was at the booth, and we talked about the fact that he was Usagi Yojimbo and the Tick. And I had just done that cover for IDW that had the Tick and Usagi on it. And I actually gave him the prelim because he voiced both characters. It was in my binder, and I was like, I don't need the $30. I'll be happy to give this to him. And he was delighted. Yeah, Joe, I will buy you God Loves Man Kills if it is in a bin at a show that we're both at. I'd be delighted to if you have not read that book. I gotta fix this hand. Oh, it's at the library. Well, that's fine too. I would find that to be one of those. It's just one of those books that, like, I don't know. I read it at the right time. It resonated, and the artwork is terrific. And the crazy thing about that one is that originally it was going to be drawn by Neil Adams. So, like a Neil Adams X-Men graphic novel after the Byrne run, which was so Neil influenced stylistically. But you know, from what I have read about the project, was that Neil wanted a partial creator-owned credit deal for the graphic novel, and um, whoever it was, I think it was still Shooter at the time, said that, like, yeah, we'll make it work, and then they couldn't make it work, and like Neil started drawing. There's actually like 5 or 6 pages that Neil had drawn that are out there. Um, He actually sold prints of the splash page at his table. I remember seeing him on Neil's table. And I don't know if I ever asked Neil about that one because like there was Neil Adams's booth was across from the NEC booth at San Diego. And I would see him for a week basically. Like I'd see him every morning getting his little styrofoam cup of coffee. And he and Marilyn would come into the show early and they would stay late, you know. That guy worked his butt off, even as like a big name guy. And he had like a giant section and he did, tons of those mass produced those little head sketches before the show. And he would sell them just by the truckload. Those little like $250 sketches. Like he had, the $5,000, $10,000 big pieces. But he would just sell tons and tons of the slightly less expensive ones, and he sold plenty of the bigger ones, of course, but like I cannot tell you how many of those little $200 sketches that by Neil are out there. So like the exact same perfect Batman profile, like there are millions of them out there. Um, Not millions, but thousands, without question, thousands. And he would just move them like you wouldn't believe. But yeah, I got to sit across from him for like a week for several years. His kids remembered my name. I'll put it that way. It's already almost 9 o'clock. I should have just done one character. That was the only way I was going to get to do the ink wash tonight. So hopefully we can at least ink one character. I'm going to have to work on this on my free time. My God. What did I get myself into, everyone? Um, yeah, Joel and Jason were always there. So there was one year where we had Neil across from us, and then we had the Vanguard booth to our right. So that was, and Storenko was still hanging around with, what's his name? The Vanguard guy. I can see his David. I can see his face in my head. I can't pull his name. Oh, the X-Men pencils. Yeah. Yeah, so we had Storenko on our left, and we had Neil across from us, and I don't think they spoke to each other the whole time. My pencils have definitely gotten looser. They're just notes for me to keep drawing it in ink. Um, I remember when I was talking to the Marvel people at one point when I was doing my taking my portfolio to anyone who would give me 5 minutes to look at it. And at the Boston show one year, we had done the portfolio reviews, the official ones. And that was like their biggest criticism of my work was when they saw the finished piece, the inked piece, they're like, oh, your pencils are way too loose. I was like, okay. And then for years I spent trying to tighten them, but like I don't know. It was like square peg in a round hole. I couldn't make it work in a way where I could be happy with the final result and felt like it was my work. So I don't know. I don't know if they didn't like each other, but they did not. I remember that definitively. They did not speak to each other. I didn't think it was my place to ask at that point. Being just the guy drawing the tick. But I've sat across from all sorts of people at San Diego. Last year, I sat across from Dean Kotz, fantastic artist, young guy. We like a lot of the same comics. David Lloyd was across from us another year. The guy from V for Vendetta. He was promoting some web comics of some kind that he had done. And I had asked him about it at one point, and the web comics, and he was basically like, "Yeah, we don't make much money off the web comics. It's the when we collect them all and then we sell the collections, we make a little bit of money." Because you're always curious, like, is there a gig here or is there a gig there? I didn't ask him outright, but like, that was on my mind. Like, oh, you're doing web comics. It's a platform for tons of artists. Would there be room for me? Check that out. Big heavy line underneath. You can come back like that. Kaguya says, looks cool. Thanks. Just having some relaxing sketch fun tonight. I got to work on this shoulder. It doesn't look right to me, so I'm going to have to hold it up to the light and see if we can fix that. And I think the hand needs some work. Yeah, the hand definitely needs work. I don't know what the hell I was thinking there. Was not thinking, I think, is the problem. There we go. That's better. That is better. I think that the legs are going to be completely blacked out, basically. Like these are pretty much, well, maybe not. If this is the light source, then there's going to be some light there. And then there's going to be the cast shadow from where that tucks in. So there. And I guess there'd be a little bit of a backlight there after a cast shadow there. So that comes down. And of course, we made a tangent because we're dummies. This needs to come back like this. This comes forward. But if we basically have it go into some smoke, we can fudge that and get rid of the tangent. Oh, thanks for hanging out then, Joe. Yes, I do. I feel that same guilt, Joe. Like working on Undersea Hero, I'm at the point where like some of the pages are really hard, so I feel stressed working on them. And then if I'm not working, I feel stressed that I'm not working on them. So it kind of like makes it so I can't be happy if I'm doing the work or not doing the work. So maybe at some point we'll do a crossover on the stream. We'll have you do maybe we'll both pick a character. Maybe a character that neither of us have ever drawn. So there's no unfair advantages here. I'm still going to lose, but I feel like there would, like, if it was you versus me drawing Spider-Man, I don't think I would have a snowball's chance in heck of competing unless I had some sort of gimmick. If I had a gimmick, some sort of gimmick to, like, if somehow I drew it and it instantly turned into a hologram, maybe then I could fool people into thinking the drawing is better than it is, or just you did a shot of the black costume overtaking Spider-Man at one point recently. That one was pretty great. And look, I'm not even the biggest Spider-Man guy, and I know that shocks people that are big Spider-Man people, but like, I don't know. I like seeing good creators' takes on any character. So like, to me, that supersedes the character. So like, do I like the Ditko Spider-Man? Yeah, I do. Do I like the Ramita? Yeah, of course. Charles Vess, another one who his take on Spider-Man when I was a kid was so different from everybody else that it was just cool. So we're going to lose this parts of this leg, and we're going to get some smoke going on so that we are not making a tangent. That's how we fake getting rid of a tangent right there, ladies and gentlemen. We just get rid of that part of Storm right there. So there's not the point where his knuckle is like sitting on the edge of her leg like a like a first year art student. What time is it? It's 9 o'clock. Usually we've been wrapping it up now lately, but I feel obligated to do at least a little bit of inking because everybody's stuck it out this long. So we'll take out our tools here. I actually just got some cool new pens. These are different ones that I haven't used. This is a Zebra. These are like what Dan Panosian I know uses. Seems very similar to the Kiritaki, but we'll try it. We'll try it out. And then this was another one. This was Zig. I think this was a Zig pen. Very similar again, but not exactly the same. What I'm looking for right now is my F that has tape on it, but it might be in my pocket from work. Looking for my 0.5, 0.5. I don't think we're going to find it in here. I have to put it in my jacket. That's annoying. Oh well, we'll make it work. Oh, thanks, Rick. Just having fun. Nothing too crazy. Let's start over with our pal Logan here. Like I said, I've been drawing more of the skull shape underneath stuff, and I think that's really helped my overall anatomy and compositions. In order to do the eye, we've got to get like the little teeniest pen that there is. This is a 0.1. It's like an extra small. I keep having to use it for things, and I shouldn't, because that means I'm noodling too much. Like, I just shouldn't use this size pen. You're right, Gene. It is teeny tiny. That is the tiniest pen. Looks kind of like a, to me, that looks kind of like a Mike Zeck chin. I haven't inked anything mainstreamy like this. Because when I'm making my own stuff, I don't even worry about it. I'm just like, oh, nobody's going to worry that it doesn't look like so and so or whatever. But that doubt creeps in when I'm drawing somebody else's stuff. This is our sable brush pen that I use for so many things. When I was a kid, you know, guys like Mark Silvestri were drawing Wolverine. Adam Kubert, Andy Kubert did like that Reign of Terra book. He was just one of those characters that so many people got their hands on. John Buscema did it in Marvel Comics Presents, and I've been wondering like where I first see certain artists' work, and I think I read Marvel Comics Presents long before I got my hands on a Conan comic. So I think that the first Buscema artwork I saw was on Wolverine, actually. And I adore Buscema's work. I just like to think of like where I first saw people's stuff. And I know for a fact I first saw um, Gene Colan on that was until much later that I found all of his other amazing artwork. Um, on like creepy and eerie, and obviously he had big long runs on Daredevil. And this hair looks too clean to me, but we gotta get the other side of everything. what happens when I use the brush a little bit. Sometimes it looks too clean. It starts to cross over from being, um, what do you call it? Graphic into more of an illustrative feature. And I would say that my stuff is usually more suited to a graphical approach. And here's where I start to carve into it and get some of the like more rich lines, the line variants. I'll go in and add stuff here and there just because like I need to show greater depth in different places. Like I need to push his teeth back some, so that needs to be a thicker line. The jaw, the underside of the jaw needs to be thicker. We have to show that there's a bend going down the other way. There's just certain things that the black and white heavy contrast has to pull off. And then like when I go back in with the ink wash, it enhances it. It's not there to like save it. Anytime I see ink wash going in and trying to save a lighting situation, it's already gone. Just let it go. Start over. It's like when they say, "Oh, I'll save it when I get to the coloring point." No, no, there's no saving a bad drawing in the coloring or ink wash portion of it. After many years of trying it, I have learned that lesson. Sometimes when you're on a deadline, you don't have a choice. You just got to make it work as best you can with the time you got. But been adding these little feathers, just little bits on my line art lately. I don't know why. It's kind of a new development. I'm jealous of the artists that have like just that clean, smooth finish on their stuff. Eli does good stuff like that. If Eli's still around, he does good, clean finish on things. Everything looks precise, professional looking. But I do like when you let it rip on the brush and you get that nice sharp edge there. That took me a long time to figure out how to do better than I started out. If you look at my early drawings when I'm trying to do stuff like that, it just looks like I'm mushing a brush. Can always bring that in. It's very tight. It's a good thing. That's what the editors want, Eli. They want the tight artwork. Oh, there it is. It was in front of me the whole time, the 0.5. See, I put tape on the ones that are the current pen that have the most ink and the freshest tip on them. That way I don't confuse them. I used to shy away from using a pen, but it's something I had to also get over. Just being comfortable building up lines. That was something I had to figure out how to do better. Because I tried doing it with just a brush, and it just didn't. To me, it got too smooth, and that would just to me it would lose all of its crunchiness, as my old art teacher would say. Eli says, I hate editors, but I want to be one so I can let artists do what they want. Have I ever seen Steamroller Man? That guy is great. So is the Pedestrian. You've mentioned those. I will have to look into those, especially since you've just mentioned them again. I think you said they're on Instagram the last time we talked. No, I'm not scalding you. I'm glad you reminded me. I just, I think you mentioned they were on Instagram. I've just been so absent-minded with stuff lately. Okay, we've got a shadow here, and we don't want it to look like. We don't want to make another tangent. We just avoided one really ugly one. And there's a tiny bit of light that'll be coming from over here. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm just going to leave just a little razor's edge just right there. So when we go in, we can grab our brush pen like this. We can just fill it right in. That's also something I had to become less afraid of as I got older as an artist. Is, I didn't want to put too much ink on the paper, and then I had to learn over time that like that's okay as long as you're doing it in a thoughtful way. Let's see if we can ink this arm up to where the claws will be. If we can get that done tonight, I think we can call it a night. But I've had a lot of fun on this, and it's been really great talking to you guys, Eli and Joe and Gene and everybody. So thank you, really. Like I said, been stressing out, so it's really good to hear from my wonderful friends. I should have done that with my FH. This is a feud hard. It's like again, another type of these hard plastic tippy ones that can do interesting. So you can do interesting stuff. Like if I've said it before, if you're afraid to try a brush, one of these pens would be a great way to like start to develop those skills, that muscle memory. So you can see the interesting line that you can get with that, the line variance, just with one swift pullback. It's very much like a brush, and you can do sort of a faux feather with it. See, there's sort of that faux feather right there. I actually think with how strong the lighting is there that I'm going to pull some extra dark lines on the side. And then we'll come back up like this with these little tag lines. Like that. And we're still trying to define the shape with the shadow, but we're just going with some flat black instead of just leaving it open. And it really just functions. It goes from just being a line to being a fill. If you were talking in like Adobe lingo, since I have to work in Adobe almost all day, every day. I don't go crazy with double lighting. No, I know that was like very popular when I was a kid with a lot of artists. But I don't know. I like going with just my single source lighting because I get confused easily and I don't want to over render. Like I have to fight to simplify things as it is. I don't think I'm very good at it. So anything that invites me to render more, I've been shying away from. Doing a slightly different texture, you can see like I'm going to leave that as like a horizontal parallel that kind of fades into the glimmer. And I'm not going to have the same sort of effect over here where you see like these teeth here and then this fill and these sort of, like I said, these faux uh, brush lines here, feather lines, faux feathers. Say that 10 times fast. Faux feathers, faux feathers, faux feathers. Just try to have that line come in from the arm and just have like a slight break from where it goes there so that we know that it is intentional. A little bit. Actually, I think we need to fill this all the way in. And cut that across like that. Yep, that looks better. And this come in like that. I think that looks better. That arm looks better. Oops, I'm just gonna fill this in. I told you we'd ink all the way up to where the let me figure out where that. Told you we would ink all the way up to where the claws start, because the claws are so important that I don't want to rush them and I don't want to mess them up on the stream. So we'll do Wolverine's all important arm hair as the only character with like any sort of visible body hair. Although Byrne drew like I think he drew Banshee with, or Scott Summers with chest hair. All right, I think that's as far as we're going to get tonight. So thank you everybody for coming out. We did a long stream tonight because we had really awesome people hanging out tonight. So thanks Eli and Joe and everybody. And we can zoom in a little bit before I get out of here. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. And yeah. Oh, hey, Rudy. Oh, Rudy. Hey, great to see you. Yeah, I'm sorry I won't be at San Diego this year. We were there last year, and hopefully we'll be back next year. But yeah, thank you for thinking of me. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful night, and I hope to see you again next week. Good night, everybody.